Hey again, my name's Joe, this is my wife Helen, and together in the summer of 2024, we took a trip to Southern California. In today's episode, I go to San Diego's East Village, Balboa Park, and then back to Ocean Beach with Helen this time. Stay tuned. First things first, fit check.
Tucked in polo, into the Robin's egg, blue shorts, you know, black belt, white socks, black shoes, what you gonna do?
So I decided to walk through the East Village this morning, this time in my shoes. And I really feel like my dadcore aesthetic was the wrong choice for this neighborhood. This place is rough. From the piss stench in the methadone clinic queues to the encampments, this area is where I draw the line and say that I am not considering spending much time here in the future. I looked up which restaurants had gluten-free options here, and I saw Mio e Tuo, another trusted Italian establishment. I had the most disappointing sandwich of my life here. Just rank. By 9:30, the sun was already cutting through the clouds and making the world a better place. I had to get some steps in and shake off that horrendous excuse for a bacon and egg sandwich this morning, so I set off north on foot towards Balboa Park. The jaunt had me walk over this ridiculously huge freeway. I decided to enter Balboa Park from the entrance up the hill on 6th. Hey buddy. But for whatever reason it was closed off. That wouldn't bother me much, even though there weren't any signs at the street level, but my hike ended up having me pass by a few women who had decided to live amongst the squirrels. I figured I could make my way around the fence, but eventually I reached a dead end without any way to get in. I spoke to a few folks who were standing by an entrance to the park about what was going on here. You can imagine my wrath when I found out that the park was closed, before finding out it was for Pride. The festival was happening on the weekend, but they were setting things up along the way, avoiding any sloth. I envy the people who will be able to experience that, but I guess I can't be too greedy. Actually, it turned out that the folks I spoke to were wrong. The park wasn't closed. I think it was just part of the park, even though I asked multiple times, the entire park? Anyway, I crossed this bridge over a huge canyon which separates the park into two and headed into the more recognizable part of Balboa Park. The size and scale of things in California is just really impressive. I spent the next several hours walking around inside Balboa Park with beautiful Spanish-style buildings and incredible landscaping. I mean, look at this garden. Insanity. I also love these tiles. They remind me of Estepona and Marbella in the south of Spain, which has similar Moorish Andalusian tile in their outdoor fountains. This sculpture is called The Poet and His Muse, and that's very much like myself and Helen. It really turned out to be a gorgeous day. It's already baking hot. Anyway, I'm going into compilation mode. Enjoy some music. Ay, 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 ay. The Spanish Village Artists Alley is a collection of galleries paved with these colorfully painted stones. I mean, the Spanish Village Artists Alley is a collection of galleries paved with these colorfully painted stones. I stopped in and spoke to a few different artists in the alley and got to see something I hadn't seen before, a glass-blowing artist at work. I took a few videos, but then I got told off because I wasn't supposed to take photos or videos, so I won't include those in this video. After leaving the Artist Alley, I headed north through some nicely landscaped gardens and past the Balboa Park Railroad train stop before reaching the entrance to the San Diego Zoo, which was a hive of activity this morning. Remember in a previous video I talked about how lucky the Point Loma High School students were? Roosevelt Middle School students were shaking when they saw that video. Once I reached the north end of Park Boulevard, I saw a place on the map called Morley Field Sports Complex, which has a disc golf course and some other stuff. I thought I'd walk there, which the map said I could do via Morley Field Drive.
I tried to walk to Morley Fields to play a round of disc golf. I was happy, I was gay. I couldn't walk, there was no sidewalk on the way. I'm gonna have to play some disc golf another day. I tried to walk to Morley Fields to play a round of disc golf. I was happy, I was gay. I couldn't walk, there was no sidewalk on the way. I'm gonna have to play some disc golf another day.
Walking west from the north of the park along Uppa Street was great. There were sweet Spanish homes which were small but probably much bigger than our apartment in Amsterdam. I looked it up. This one was 2,700 square feet, 2 bed, 4 bath, which Redfin estimates to be 1.88 million. Not bad, really. Eventually, I reached this path which took me over a highway, and I managed to get a few push-ups in with my new friend here. After going off-road for a while, I ended up back on 6th Ave, just a little bit north of where I entered the park, near the Squirrel Ladies encampment. Ah, civilization. It was hot, which made getting a 7-Eleven Freedom Fusion Slurpee even better than usual.
Freedom Fusion! Freedom Fusion Slurpees from 7-Eleven! Tasting them's like dying and going to heaven! If the sun is hot, if you want an experience, get a Freedom Fusion, ignore the ingredients.
I kept on past 5th, 4th, all the way past 1st, when I found the Spruce Street Suspension Bridge, which brings you over a canyon and into a nice residential neighborhood. I looked around at some of the houses here before turning back and heading back over the bridge. I always thought lawyer ads at bus stops were strange, but then... yeah, that was not real. Eventually, after some self-reflection at this cult headquarters, I got back to First and crossed over a massive bridge over the Maple Canyon open space into Bankers Hill. I am getting my steps in today, I'll tell you. From here, I kept going downtown. You know, like the song. I saw this Chinese place which specializes in traditional Louisianan chicken. I stopped into a games shop, but it was full of a bunch of nerd stuff, and I'm definitely not a nerd. Helen would like it though. I walked south towards the Gaslamp area and broke down to the pressure of having another melt burger. This time, a double spicy jalapeno one. That's lust and gluttony crossed off the list now. Yet again, this is one of the best burgers I've had in my entire life. And it was so hot, temperature-wise, and it was spicy too. I saw some other dadcore enthusiasts and also this gentleman who was throwing things at passersby. On Central Station and we can have a drink downtown. Then I made my way back to the hotel where I cooled down for about an hour. It was baking hot outside. Helen sent me a message that she was on her way back, and once she got back to the hotel, she would have to work for another 45 minutes or so from her laptop in the hotel room. But then she would be free at last, and we'd be able to spend the evening together. When she got back, I collected my things, let her work, and set off again for a walk through Little Italy. Okay, so I know the first 3.5 episodes of this SoCal trip has seemed a lot like, I do have a girlfriend, she just lives in Canada. But now Helen has been released from her work obligations, and for the next 3 weeks, we're side by side the entire way. We're kicking that off by going to Sunset Cliffs and Ocean Beach, jumping on a bus to get there. We stopped at Point Loma Fish Shop, which was on Helen's list of places to try. She got some seafood tacos and I got a lump of halibut, I think, and steamed veggies. Health is my passion. Aw, aren't we sweet? From there, we set off down Hill Street towards the Sunset Cliffs, where we saw a load of people preparing for its namesake. This place is really, truly beautiful. It was so nice to be here with Helen finally, too. we saw a bunch of surfers who were seriously amazing. We also watched people getting down to the beach via the only way to do so, the side of a cliff. This was treacherous. Once sunset began, we made our way back to Ocean Beach before it got too dark, and it was definitely not a mistake. Once the sun went down entirely, the sky was giving off this amazing vaporwave aesthetic. Eventually it got too dark, and Helen and I caught an Uber back to the hotel. What an amazing day. As for the end of day stats, we cannot complain about 38,000 steps and 33.5 kilometers. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe. I've got 15 more days worth of content for this SoCal 2024 vlog series. In next week's episode, Helen and I are taking the Surfliner train from San Diego to Los Angeles. See you soon.